Today on MTG Unpacked, it's pre-release week for the latest Magic set, Tarkir Dragonstorm, and we're getting stuck into the Abzan Armor Commander deck. So this is a white, black, green deck, and the commander here we have Fellow Thar and also Beator, so you can play as either one. We've got a Collector Booster Sample Pack, 100 card deck, with 10 new cards, deck box, 10 double-sided token cards, strategy insert, and reference guide. Alright, so we're going to play Defender's Turn Toughness into Power. Show the true spirit of the Abzan. Okay then, so we've got our Collector Booster Sample Pack. So we get everything else out here. And we'll take a look at what we've got. So this tells you about how to play the deck and some commander rules. And then we've got colors of magic. And then here we have a poster, some lore about Fellow Thar, the Steadfast and Beator Ancestor's Voice. So very cool. We'll set that aside. Then we have ever popular deck box. So these things sort of flimsy, but they do fit a sleeved commander deck. And then we have the deck itself along with some punch outs here and a QR code. But before we get into the deck, let's crack open our Collector Booster Sample Pack. Honestly, not expecting anything too crazy in here. So let's see what we've got. We have a Naga Fleshcrafter. Okay, so there's a rare and feral Deathgorger. I do like the showcase art on those. Alright, so getting into the commander deck. So these going for $48.99 US on TCG Player, which is actually about right. The previous decks are way overpriced, the ones we covered in the last couple of days, but this one seems decent. We have Fellow Thar, the Steadfast, legendary creature, human warrior. It's a mythic, 0/5 for 1, white, black, and green. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Okay, I was wondering about that 0 there. Creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have Defender. And for 3 taps, sacrifice another creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness, then discard cards equal to its power. Okay, so they've probably got a bunch of creatures in here that give you the maximum benefit from that. Then we have Beator, Ancestor's Voice, another mythic, and of course Dragonstorm. We've got a legendary creature, Spirit Dragon. It's a 3/5 for 2 white, black, and green. Has flying and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to one other target creature you control, equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Okay, so some life gain plays a part here. Return up to 1 target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so life gain and life lost seem to be triggers, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Next up we have Protector of the Wastes, creature dragon, 5/5 for 4 and 2 white with flying. When this creature enters or becomes monstrous, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments controlled by different players. And for 4 and a white, it has monstrosity 3, so if this creature isn't monstrous, put 3 +1/+1 counters on it and it becomes monstrous. And then we have Reunion of the House, sorcery for 5 and 2 white. Return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. What the heck? Exile Reunion of the House. Then we have Jaws of Defeat, enchantment for 3 and a black. Whenever a creature you control enters, target opponent loses life equal to the difference between that creature's power and its toughness. Okay, so we're going to see a bunch of power and toughness things way out of whack. We have Tip the Scale, sorcery for 2 and a black. Sacrifice a creature. When you do, all creatures get -X. minus X until end of turn, where X is the sacrificed creature's toughness. Then we have Will of the Abzan, sorcery, 4/3 and a black. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both instead. So any number of target opponents each sacrifice a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls and lose 3 life. And the second one here, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then we have Arbor Adherent, creature Dog Druid. Okay, there's an interesting combo. 2/4 for 3 and a green. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Tap to add X mana of any one color, where X is the greatest toughness among other creatures you control. Okay, so I'm thinking this set has some nice support for dogs if you want to build a dog deck. And we have Canopy Gargantuan, creature dragon, 7/7 for 5 and 2 green. Has flying and ward 2, so ward means if they want to target this creature, they have to pay that mana cost. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a number of +1/+1 counters on each other creature you control equal to that creature's toughness. Rampart Architect, creature Elephant Advisor, 3/4 for 3 and a green. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, create a 1/3 white wall creature token with Defender. And whenever a creature you control with Defender dies, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And remember our commander here says creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have Defender, so that would come in handy as well. We've got a Mythic Tree of Redemption, creature plant, 0/13. Oh, that's a weird one. For 3 and a green, has Defender. Tap, exchange your life total with this creature's toughness. Okay, I see how that works. Then we have Ikra Shadiki, the Usurper, another mythic. Legendary creature, Snake Wizard, 3/7 for 3, black and green with Menace. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Also has Partner, so you can have 2 commanders if both have Partner. So both of the main ones here do not, but if you do have others, you could do that. We have Bolden Sentry Herdmaster, legendary creature, human warrior, 0/7 for 4 and 2 white. During your turn, each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and whenever Bolden attacks up to 100, what? Target creatures each get +0/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Okay, that would be great for a go-wide token strategy. We have Expel the Interloper's sorcery for 3 and 2 white. Choose a number between 0 and 10. Destroy all creatures with power greater than or equal to the chosen number. Then we have Indomitable Ancients creature, Treefolk Warrior, 2/10 for 2 and 2 white, and I'll let you freeze frame that and read the flavor text. Then we have Rocks Faithmender, creature Rhino Monk, 1/5 for 3 and a white with lifelink. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. Okay, so there's the life gain thing we were looking for. And then we have Shallai Voice of Plenty, legendary creature Angel, 3/4 for 3 and a white with flying. You planeswalkers you control and other creatures you control have hexproof. Good deal. For 4 and 2 green, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Then we have a Wakestone Gargoyle, creature Gargoyle, 3/4 for 3 and a white with Defender and flying. And for 1 and white, creatures you control with Defender can attack this turn as though they didn't have Defender. Okay, so there's another one. Even if you don't have your commander out, you can take advantage of that. Wall of Reverence, creature Spirit Wall, 1/6 for 3 and a white, has Defender and flying. At the beginning of your end step, you may gain life equal to the power of target creature you control. Welcoming Vampire, creature Vampire, 2/3 for 2 and a white with flying. Whenever 1 or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Zatalpa, Primal Dawn, legendary creature Elder Dinosaur, 4/8 for 6 and 2 white, has flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. Do you even need any more keywords than that? We've got Arasta of the Endless Web, legendary enchantment creature spider, 3/5 for 2 and 2 green with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. Then we got Assault Formation. Enchantment for 1 and a green. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. And for a green, target creature with Defender can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. For 2 and a green, creatures you control get +0/+1 until end of turn. Hornet Nest. Creature Insects 0/2 for 2 and a green with Defender. Whenever this creature is dealt damage, create that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. Good deal. Then we got a Seedborn Muse. Creature Spirit 2/4 for 3 and 2 green. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Sylvan Caryatid. Creature Plant 0/3 for 1 and a green. Has Defender and Hexproof. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. And a Mythic Towering Titan. Creature Giant 0/0 for 4 and 2 green. This creature enters with X. +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total toughness of other creatures you control. And if you sacrifice a creature with Defender, all creatures gain trample until end of turn. Anguished Unmaking instant for 1 white and black. Exile target non-land permanent. You lose 3 life. Then we have a Mythic Dragonlord Dramoka. Legendary creature Elder Dragon 5/7 for 4 green and white. This spell can't be countered. Has flying and lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. We got a Feybarrow Elder. Creature Treefolk Druid 0/0 for 1 green and white with Vigilance. This creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. And if you tap, for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. Then we got another Mythic Shadrick Silverquill. Legendary creature Elder Dragon 2/5 for 3 white and black. Has flying and double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. So target player creates a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. Okay, so moving on to the next chunk of the deck here. We have Sidar Kondo of Jamura. Legendary creature Human Knight. It's a Mythic 2/5 for 2 green and white. Has flanking. Okay, never heard of that. Whenever a creature without flanking blocks this creature, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. Also has partner, so you can have 2 commanders if both have partner. Then we have Kolfinor's Urn. Artifact for 3. Whenever a creature with toughness 4 or greater is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may exile it. At the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more cards have been exiled with this artifact, sacrifice it. If you do, return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Another Mythic. We've got Staff of Completion Artifact for 3. So you've got a bunch of different options. You can tap, pay 1 life, destroy target permanent you own. Tap, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color. Tap, pay 3 life, proliferate. So that's to do with the +1/+1 counters. Where you can tap, pay 4 life, draw a card, or pay 5, untap this artifact. Weathered Sentinels. Artifact creature wall 2/5 for 3. Defender, Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. This creature can attack players who attacked you during the last turn as though it didn't have Defender. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +3/+3 and gains indestructible until end of turn. And Canopy Vista. Tap for green or white. This land enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Exotic Orchard. Tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. And Fortified Village. As this land enters, you may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, this land enters tapped. Tap for green or white. Then we've got an Isolated Chapel. This land enters tapped unless you control a plains or a swamp. Tap for white or black. And Overgrown Farmland. Enters tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Tap for green or white. Sungrass Prairie. Pay 1, tap, add green and white. Sun Petal Grove. This land enters tapped unless you control a forest or a plains. Tap for green or white. And Temple of Malady. Enters tapped. When it enters, scry 1, tap for black or green. Temple of Plenty enters tapped. When it enters, scry 1, tap for green or white. Temple of Silence enters tapped. You know the drill. When this land enters, scry 1, tap for white or black. And Twilight Maya, tap for colorless or for black or green. Tap, add 2 black, 2 green, or a combo of both. Woodland Cemetery, this land enters tapped unless you control a swamp or a forest. Tap for black or green. And Arcane Signet artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. There it is. It's the Soul Ring artifact for 1. Tap for 2 colorless. And Command Tower. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Nyx Fleece Ram, enchantment creature sheep, 0/5 for 1 and white. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life. Slaughter the Strong, sorcery for 1 and 2 white. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all other creatures they control. Swords to Plowshares, instant for a single white. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Wall of Omens, creature wall, 0/4 for 1 and white with defender. When this creature enters, draw a card. And Wingmantle Chaplain, creature human cleric, 0/3 for 3 and white with defender. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying for each creature with defender you control. Whenever another creature you control with defender enters, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Behind the Scenes, enchantment for 2 and a black. Creatures you control have Skulk, so they can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. And for 4 and a white, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Then we have Blight Pile, creature Phyrexian, 3/3 for 1 and a black with defender. For 2 and a black, tap. Each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creatures with defender you control. Feed the Swarm, sorcery for 1 and a black. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. Infernal Grasp, instant for 1 and a black. Destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. And Wall of Limbs, creature Zombie Wall, 0/3 for 2 and a black with defender. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And for 5 and 2 black, sacrifice this creature. Target player loses X life, where X is this creature's power. Then we got an Arboreal Grazer, creature Sloth Beast, 0/3 for a green with reach. When this creature enters, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Axebane Guardian, creature human druid, 0/3 for 2 and a green with defender. Tap to add X mana in any combination of colors, where X is the number of creatures you control with defender. And most of the deck is defender, so that shouldn't be a problem. Carven Caryatid, creature spirit, 2/5 for 1 and 2 green with defender. When this creature enters, draw a card. And Evolving Wilds, this is a truly nutty card. If you tap, sack the sand, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Then we got a Jaddy Offshoot, creature plant, 0/3 for a green with defender. Has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you gain 1 life. Overgrown Battlement, creature wall, 0/4 for 1 and a green with defender. Tap to add green for each creature you control with defender. Sandstep Citadel, this land enters tap. Tap for white, black, or green. And Tower Defense, instant for 1 and a green. Creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain reach until end of turn. Wall of Blossoms, creature plant wall, 0/4 for 1 and a green. Has defender. When this creature enters, draw a card. And we have cards flying around everywhere. Wall of Roots, it's a creature plant wall, 0/5 for 1 and a green. Has defender. Put a 0 or -1 counter on this creature. Add green. Activate only once each turn. Okay, so that is the first part of the deck. We will cut to the, let's see here, the tokens. Next we have D-Spark. It's an instant for white and black. Exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Indulging Patrician, creature vampire noble, 1/4 for 1 white and black. Has flying lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. Then we have Crashing Drawbridge, artifact creature wall, 0/4 for 2 with defender. Tap, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Then we have Orzhov Signet artifact for 2. For 1, tap, add white and black. Selesnya Signet artifact for 2. For 1, tap, add green and white. And Swiftfoot Boots artifact equipment for 2. Equip creature has hexproof and haste. Equip for 1. Walking Bulwark artifact creature Golem 0/3 for 1 with Defender. And if you pay 2 and 2, end of turn, target creature with Defender gains haste. Can attack as though it didn't have Defender and assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Activate only as a sorcery. Then we got an Access Tunnel. Tap for colorless for 3 tap. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. And Bajuka Bog. This land enters tapped. When this land enters, exile target player's graveyard. Tap for black. Deceptive Landscape. Tap for colorless. Tap, sack this land. Search your library for basic plains. Swamp or forest card. Put it onto the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle. You can cycle for white, black, and green, so you pay that cost. Discard this card and draw a card. Path of Ancestry. This land enters tapped. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. So that means look at the top card of your library. You may put that card on the bottom. Radiant Grove, a forest plains here. Tap for green or white. This land enters tapped. And then we have basic lands. 6 plains. 5 swamps. And 7 forests. Okay, so moving on to the tokens. We have a Wall with Defender, 1/3. On the other side, a Spider with Reach, 1/2. We got a 2/1 Flying Inkling. Then we got a Insect Flying Death Touch, 1/1. Bird Flying, 1/1 with an Inkling on the other side. Another Wall here. And another Insect. Spider Reach, 1/2. Bird Flying, 1/1. And Wall. A Spider. Okay, so a whole bunch of these. Inkling and an Insect. Bird and an Inkling and a Wall. I guess you're going to be creating a ton of these. Insect, Spider, and a Bird. Okay, and parts of the turn. Popular Magic formats. Okay, so although we have a dragon, this deck has a very different strategy than the others. So you're basically taking advantage of those defender creatures which typically have a much higher toughness. And then you're saying, oh, sometimes they don't have defender and they can attack. So you're taking advantage of that. There's a bit of life gain and life loss here. Some triggers there as well. So pretty interesting deck. I think it's definitely worthwhile. Much cheaper than the other ones we've taken a look at. Let me know in the comments what you think about these. And if you've missed any of our Tarkir Dragonstorm videos, I'll pop a link in the corner to the complete playlist. Stay tuned, we've got 2 more commander decks to go. That is Mardu and Jeskai. We'll be getting stuck into those in the next couple of days. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.